This news program is proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Now Biscuits.
KCH signs MOU with French company. PNG Australia Alumni Awards host dialogue to discuss lessons learned from the 2022 national election. And Forestry Act under review. Good evening. You're watching National EMTV News. I'm Rocky Issa. Thank you for joining us. Kumul Consolidating Holdings has signed a memorandum of understanding with Agence Française de Développement, a French company, today in Port Moresby. The signing ceremony was witnessed by the Minister for State Enterprise, William Duma, and His Excellency Guillaume Lemoyne, French Ambassador to Papua New Guinea.
Signing ceremony took place today at the Kumul Consolidated Holdings boardroom between KCH and the Agence Française de Développement, or AFD, witnessed by the Minister for State Enterprises and Stake. Regional Director of AFD, Virginie Blatchtres, says AFD has been in the Pacific region for over 75 years, delivering services in the region, especially in the energy resource space. Blatchtres says she is looking forward in working with Papua New Guinea after this MOU signing and will assist in the technical operations of PNG Power, PNG Ports and other development partners.
We are very eager to support the energy transition here in PNG, to help also upgrade the port infrastructure and help them face the important impacts of natural hazards or climate change impacts. And
Minister for State Enterprises William Duma says it is an historical moment for PNG to establish close relationship with France and is looking forward to working with AFD and build a closer economic relationship.
As a developing country, we have our challenges, but we've seen what France has been able to do in many parts of the world, in the Pacific as well, and of course Africa. And it's a good story, and I have no doubt whatsoever that once our two representatives sign this very important document, things will happen. And I say only good things will happen.
French ambassador to PNG says France is looking forward to strengthening the partnership with PNG.
From PNG to in Nouméa, but also to be able to bring you, to provide our expertise, our knowledge, I would say, and in particular our will and wish to do more and to engage more in the country.
AFD Group implements French policy in the areas of development and international solidarity. It finances the public sector and NGOs, as well as research and education in sustainable development. Cynthia Maku, National EMTV News.
Papua New Guinea's national general election was marred with endless allegations of corruption and abuse, such as inflated and bogus electoral rolls, use of extra ballot papers, intimidation of our women, and many more. Yesterday evening, the Papua New Guinea Australia Alumni Awards, in partnership with the Lowly Institute of Australia PNG Network, hosted a PNG Development and Policy Dialogue to discuss lessons learned on the country's national general elections 2022. The Kumul Room at the Holiday Inn in Port Moresby was the venue for the dialogue on the subject of the PNG National General Elections 2022, discussing lessons learned as well as propositions for the electoral reforms and on the way forward. This event featured guest speaker Alan Bird, the Governor for East Sepik, Central Governor Rufina Peter, and Ivan Pomaleo, Prime Minister and National Executive Council Chief Secretary and the Interdepartmental Election Committee Chairman as panelists. Governor for East Sepik and Chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Election 2022, Alan Bird, spoke about the challenges he faced during the election.
For me, as I was in WEWAC, waiting for the elections to be conducted. On the very first day, I had word come through that in my district in particular, there was a bunch of young men who got upset that their names weren't on the common roll. And so they proceeded to destroy a ballot box. Fortunately, there were no votes in the box at the time. On the same day, in another part of ECP, the same thing happened. Again, their names went on the common roll. I had to get on radio and ask everyone to, well, first of all, I apologized and I said, look, we have to fix this.
During the panel discussion, female panelist and Member of Parliament Rufina Pita spoke about the hardships she faced and how she carried out awareness to educate those involved in the election process.
Actually did a lot more of that type of awareness. And I saw that it was very necessary to target people along the way, not just voters, but also people responsible for administering the elections. And I think that was important, as Governor Bird has pointed out. Both candidates and people are not trusting every person along the way that's responsible for the elections and the outcomes of it.
Prime Minister, National Executive Council Chief Secretary and the Interdepartmental Election Committee Chairman Ivan Pomeleu has signalled that voter education is needed and people should be more involved in the electoral process in taking ownership.
Those of you who observed the elections closer than I did would recognize that there are parts of the country that people took control and made sure that the process was what they wanted, and they exercised their rights completely. And there were other places, of course, that we had challenges. So that's one area of work that we as a country would need to be thinking about. We, the people, need to take control of the process and make sure that what they want is delivered. There are obviously challenges to that, but that comes down to voter education, I think.
Discussions on reserved seats for women in Parliament and quotas for women in political parties were also raised as part of the discussion. As the chairman of the Special Parliamentary Committee on Election 2022, Governor Bird has stated that the election process has to be simplified as there is a lack of transparency. The Forestry Act 1991 is under legislative review after 30 years. This will allow for the government's agendas for the forestry sector to be accommodated and addressed accordingly, both in country and at the global level.
The Papua New Guinea Forest Authority, or PNGFA, in collaboration with the Constitutional and Law Reform Commission, or CLRC, held a lockdown workshop on the 28th of September to the 1st of October in Port Moresby and went through the draft of the legislative bills on the revised Forestry Act. Participants at the workshop included directors, managers, and legal officers of the PNGFA and representatives from CLRC, Office of the Legislative Council, the Public Solicitor's Office or PSO, and the Department of Treasury. PNGFA and CLRC will submit the draft bill to PSO through the Department of Justice and Attorney General for them to check and later submit to the Office of the Legislative Council of the Department of Prime Minister and the National Executive Council for endorsement. The initial Forestry Act 1991 is more focused on logging. Therefore, in the revised Act, new provisions were added to implement government policies such as downstream processing of logs, reforestation and afforestation, carbon trade, and the establishment of the State Marketing Agency and the State Purchase Option for revenue generation. The Managing Director of the National Forest Service, John Mosoro, in his opening remarks said that the lockdown workshop to review the Forestry Act is important for PNGFA. He said he was given the task to reform the forestry sector with reviewing the Forestry Act 1991 as priority number one. Mosoro added that although there have been a number of amendments made to facilitate implementation of government policies, the review of the Forestry Act has become necessary to accommodate for developmental trends and priorities of the government. Mr. Mosoro added that the forestry sector has the support of the Mara Peroso government to remodel it to realize its full potential. Hence, reviewing the act is the right path to take. Florence John Duo, National EMTV News.
As the country continues to develop with growing number of industries, the population and the demand for new technologies, Corey Chan of Total Waste Management says law for waste management in the country needs to be updated. He says as a developing country, businesses that deal with waste management also reside or operate among communities that are also affected in one way or another.
According to Director for Total Waste Management, Corey Chen, the Basel Convention, formed in 1989, needs to be updated due to the growing number of technologies, machinery, factories, and the growing population. He said new laws need to be implemented when it comes to various waste management in the country, as communities and individual lives could be affected, something he says may well already be happening but is unknown.
Other countries will start protecting their own, and then that's going to impact our business as well. So we need to really work with the community, the global community. Otherwise, we're going to be just leaving ourselves to becoming too expensive to operate in. I mean, inflation's going through the roof, but also we don't want to be having tariffs and embargoes put on us.
He added that PNG needs to be aware of its transboundary movement of hazardous waste, as it can affect the reputation of the country.
Unfortunately, our country is coming under fire at the moment because of illegal shipments of different types of waste streams. And we need to appreciate that when those activities happen and other countries are getting impacted by it, it's going to come back and impact us as well, whether it be from an environmental perspective or a financial perspective or even a reputation perspective. And that will come back to impact us in different ways, like whether we want to do business and we're importing different goods from overseas, they may start putting tariffs on us so that they can start to build up a layer of protection in case we keep exporting illegal shipments out of the country. Okay, so
the Basel Convention Act, formed in 1989, needs to be amended despite development of the recent Waigani Convention that involves focusing on the Pacific Island countries and how they move their waste. Corey said it is important that laws that surround all types of waste management need to be looked at and changed, not just for the good of the country, but for the people and the company as well. Godwin Eki, National EMTV News.
The national court case between the National Capital District, Morata 1 New Block settlers and the 6th Estate was heard yesterday afternoon at the National Courthouse at Waigani. This came after the mass eviction that took place at the Morata 1 New Block in Port Moresby last week on the 12th of October 2022.
The lawyer representing the National Capital District Commission and the Morata 1 settlers argued that the eviction took place on the grounds that the 6th Estate had a Supreme Court order in place to verify, which it was effective for 14 days, but it has failed to comply with that. This was a Supreme Court order that was made in 2017. He argued that the eviction took place without a proper warrant that should be obtained by the district court. Meanwhile, the lawyer representing the 6th Estate argued that the restraining order obtained by the NCDC was to restrain the company from any further eviction is a repeat of court process. There was a district court order filed by the 6th Estate back in 2016. He further argued that the Supreme Court's decision made in 2017 was to give time to settlers to move out until March 26, 2020. This Supreme Court order has resurrected the District Court order that was initially from 2016. to have settlers move out within 7 days. Justice Wood, after hearing the matter, asked the Sixth Estate lawyer to provide affidavit and originating summons, and that the evidence must be given to the court in terms of the eviction notices. This matter was adjourned to next week, Friday the 28th at 1:30 p.m. for judgment ruling. Grace Papiali, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories, and police hierarchy has applauded the Fox unit for their swift response to urgent calls in the city. With the increase in violence resulting from ethnic clashes and other issues experienced in the city recently, the Fox unit was proactive and swift to respond, especially during the Erima incident.
The Fox unit has been praised for their active response to calls in NCD. The capital city has experienced clashes and confrontations lately. However, with the presence of the Fox unit on site, together with other units of the NCD command, what was about to spill into an ethnic clash was contained in Erima recently. The Fox unit was created in 2019 to help curb crime rates in the city and other urban areas. Since its inception, at least 70% of criminal activities have declined compared to previous years. The Fox unit team is always on standby and responds to calls on 1-800-100. They monitor hotspot areas and provide constant police presence in different suburbs of NCD. Police will continue to utilize the services of support teams like the Fox unit, including the mobile squads, dog units, water police, police in the headquarters, and the bandsmen to beef up manpower towards its special operations in the city, moving towards the festive season. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
With the recent spike in law and order issues mostly faced in the nation's capital, Port Moresby, this has placed a huge burden on the work of the Royal PNG Constabulary, especially the NCD Command. NCD and Central Divisional Commander Anthony Wagambi Jr. has urged respective members of each electorate in the city to step in and assist the police carry out its operations effectively in the suburbs of Port Moresby.
Police cannot effectively carry out its operations in the capital city and nationwide, and is appealing to members of parliament to assist where possible. The police cannot be seen as the only agency responsible for curbing law and order issues. Everyone has a part to play, including our duly elected members of parliament. With the recent spike in ethnic clashes in the city, Wagambi Jr. stressed the need for all elected members in the nation's capital to assist police in their respective electorates. He is appealing to Moresby South MP Justin Kachenko, Moresby North East MP John Kaupa, Moresby North West MP Lohia Boy Samuel, and Governor Powes Pakop to work alongside police in NCD by maintaining deteriorating suburban police stations, assist in logistics, and see to the welfare of police officers. Wagambi Jr. has issued directives to NCD Metropolitan Superintendent Gideon Ikumu to formalize a policing plan conducive to all, including the NCD Commission, districts within NCD and the Central Province, to adhere to in enhancing policing operations in the nation's capital and the Central Province. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
The PNG Kumals are not only worthy ambassadors of the country in the rugby league space, but also in trade and promoting PNG products overseas, says Sports Minister Don Pompolier. Taking the cue from Prime Minister James Marape's recent four-nation tour, Minister Pollier is integrating sports, higher education, trade and economic development for the country's progress in his ministerial engagements overseas.
Polia said using sports as a platform, PNG Coffee has been promoted in the UK market. He's in the United Kingdom with the Kumuls team. Polia clarified that he was not duplicating duties of other fellow ministers, saying sports and trade are related. He said PNG's acting High Commissioner to UK, Mr. Joseph Varro, and him were treated to a PNG coffee tasting program. Minister Polia said our PNG coffee promoter and CIC overseas representative Mr. Mike Wheeler, sponsored by International Trade Centre, UN and UK Aid, had arranged the UK coffee roasters to participate in tasting PNG coffee. These coffee roasters are young and so enthusiastic to roast and sell PNG coffee. Polia highlighted that they briefed him that PNG coffee was of the highest standard, but the quantity sold in the UK was very low compared to sales in other European countries. He clarified that Prime Minister James Marape had appointed recently a Minister for Coffee who would be visiting them next week, and PNG would in due course increase the volume of production. Polia added that at present the highest volume of coffee to European market is supplied by Brazil. Therefore, the cost of Brazilian coffee fried is lower than PNG's. Therefore, PNG coffee is twice as expensive in the market. Polia remains confident with Prime Minister Marape and fellow leaders that when the Minister for Coffee, Joe Cooley, and CIC visit Great Britain next week, they will exchange views and come back home with enlightened mind as for improvement. Meanwhile, Minister Polia said despite the 24-18 loss to the Tongans, the class footy displayed during the match by PNG Kumuls made a big statement that they are worthy contender for the World Cup tournament. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The Chancellor for the University of Papua New Guinea, Robert Igara, was the Chief Secretary when the Central Banking Act was introduced in 2000. He stated that reports of PNG's financial sector noted the lack of competition in the financial sector, especially in banking. However, there is a lack of recommendations as to how to remedy this. He said more competition should drive down rates and increase the volume of loans and customer base.
The Chancellor explained that the Independent Advisory Group presented to the Treasury in November 2021 its report on the Phase 1 of the review of the Central Banking Act 2000. The Phase 1 report covered governance, accountability, and transparency. He said the Phase 2 was issued on the 10th of August 2022 and the main focus is the financial sector.
The world is changing and we should also be learning from our experience. So 20 years on, it seemed the most appropriate time that the Act be reviewed. The size of our Papua New Guinea financial system is over 40 billion, over 42% of PNG's GDP, a very significant contributor to the nation's economy. And let me add, critical to the stability, employment, income of all sections of the community and growth of the economy.
Robert Igara said problems around data availability and timeliness for both economic and financial indicators in PNG are well known. One way to improve the current situation would be to use administrative data collected by government departments and businesses to supplement existing information.
Though that the government has acted on our report and has already amended the Central Banking Act, they didn't act on all our recommendations, and of course that is their prerogative. But I'm glad to say that they did act on many. So many reports produced in and for PNG do sit on the shelves, gathering dust and not much more. I'm glad to say that this wasn't one of them.
He said key agencies like the Bank of PNG and Treasury website must be updated on a regularly basis, as well on information on monetary and fiscal policy. He stressed that submissions are welcomed that address any of the questions highlighted in his speech. He said those making submissions are also encouraged to raise any other issues of relevance. Esther Gane, National EMTV News.
Growing a savings culture, understanding life skills of saving money among young Papua New Guineans through financial literacy is what BSP aims to do with the Brisbane Broncos as community partners in relaunching the BSP Financial Literacy earlier this week. The banking education program will see students in selected schools in NCD take part in BSP's 2022 Financial Literacy program. Helping school children understand the life skill of saving money, basic understanding of simple budgeting, and practice making decisions on the use of their money is what the BSP Financial Literacy Education Program aims to do in selected schools throughout the nation's capital. The 2022 relaunch saw popular NRL club, the Brisbane Broncos, led by CEO Dave Donaghy, former Brisbane Broncos halfback Scott Prince, and current players and club representatives Keenan Palacia, Delois Hauta, and Ethan Quayward visit Papua New Guinea to assist in bringing the program to local schools.
You know, our relationship with PNG from a rugby league point of view, the importance of sports diplomacy, and the social impact that can have on, as I mentioned before, our next generation of leaders and our future in our children. So we're delighted just to play a small role in that. We're very honoured to be up here again.
Visibly absent from the relaunch was BSP CEO Robin Fleming, who was overseas attending to other business matters relating to BSP. In his stead, BSP Retail Group General Manager Daniel Font spoke on the partnership between the bank and the popular NRL club.
And so that program's targeted at giving our school kids particularly a lot of awareness about particularly a savings culture. We're trying to build that. I know the team are out at Gordon's International at Cop College today, so thank you for that.
Brisbane Broncos club representative Keenan Palacia shared his experience in visiting a local school and the importance of financial education.
A learning experience for us to see how excited they got and just to see how much of an impact that we actually have as NRL players. And I think it was a perfect opportunity to really drive what we came here for, which was to kind of show the importance of financial literacy, and hopefully we were able to teach them something, even though I think they would just wanted to catch the footy all day. But hopefully next time when we come for another visit through BSP, we can teach them some more stuff.
The Brisbane Broncos have been community partners with BSP since 2020, and as a community partner of the bank, the Broncos will work with BSP in schools through financial literacy programs and also through business and leadership programs. And now taking a look at the NASFAR market report. The Kina closed unchanged at $0.2840 US dollars in the interbank market this morning. At Bank South Pacific, your Kina was buying $0.2765 US dollars, 0.4390 Australian dollars, 0.2763 euro, and 41.11 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York closed, gold, coffee, cocoa and copper closed lower, palm oil closed higher, crude oil is trading higher, and copper closed lower. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones is trading lower, and the ASX 200 is trading lower, and the All Ordinaries is trading lower. National EMTV News continues after the break with more national stories. Stay with us. You're watching National EMTV News. We continue with more national stories, and Papua New Guineans' population is rapidly growing and valuable resources like land are beginning to become scarce. Hence now is the time to embrace new technologies. These comments were made by the Acting Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock, Dr. Nelson Simbikin, today during the World Food Day celebrations in Port Moresby.
The Food and Agriculture Organization in Papua New Guinea, jointly supported by the Department of Agriculture and Livestock and important stakeholders, met today at the Airways Hotel in Port Moresby to commemorate World Food Day. Acting Secretary for Agriculture and Livestock, Dr. Nelson Simbiken, said even though we are currently experiencing very dry weather conditions in parts of the country, we have seeds and certain food crops that can resist these harsh conditions.
Most of our people are resilient, and there's seeds being produced in the country, food crops being produced in the country that can withstand the drought, and that's cassava varieties. There's yam varieties that can withstand the period. And we've got food crops like sago that a lot of people can produce in one region and trade across and provide food. So we've got food in the country that we can grow and support our people.
Country Manager for FAO, Bir Mandal, also shared the exact sentiments, reiterating that the Food and Agriculture Organization, through its programs, are currently distributing drought-resistant seeds to local farmers nationwide.
We are distributing the seed which is resistant to the drought, like sweet potato crop is more resistant to drought than any other crop. Even within the sweet potato crops, we have some varieties which is more suitable for the drought resistant. So we are distributing those kind of varieties.
PNG is one of 17 most biodiverse countries on the planet, and the United Nations is working on a plan to further complement the Marape Rosso government's policies on agriculture in the country. This was alluded to by UN Resident Coordinator Mariel Sender, who was also a speaker. The World Food Day is observed annually in almost 150 countries on the 16th of October. This date also commemorates the 77th anniversary of the founding of the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations. This year's theme was Leave No One Behind. Lindy Suharupa, National EMTV News.
A groundbreaking ceremony was launched yesterday at the University of Technology in Lae Marabe province to build a dormitory for female students to enable a greater access to technical education with the support from the Australian government.
The Papua New Guinea-Australia partnership will provide greater access to technical education for women and girls through the provision of a new dormitory at the PNG University of Technology in Lae Marabe province. The 15 million kina grant from the incentive fund will provide 100 new beds for female students across a range of academic areas. Vice-Chancellor of Unitec, Dr. Hora Renagi, at the groundbreaking ceremony for the project highlighted that this project is an important step towards PNG achieving their vision of becoming a modern, self-sufficient country by improving access to high-quality accredited technical education for all students, both men and women. There are currently 692 female students enrolled this year. More than 100 are currently being ousted off campus due to lack of beds. Marabe Governor Luther Wenge, who was also at the ceremony, challenged the Marape Rosso government to increase infrastructural investment in higher education institutions as students' intake continues to increase. At the event, Australian High Commission Infrastructure Councillor Simon King noted that a qualified, well-trained and practically skilled workforce is essential in today's modern world, and both men and women should be able to participate equally in these sectors. King said the PNG-Australia partnership is pleased to support women and girls access previously male-dominated academic streams to help increase their employment opportunities domestically and internationally by providing safe and secure accommodation. The university will be able to meet the demand for bed space for its increasing female student intake, thus increasing the number of women entering the workforce with tertiary qualifications. The new dormitory is expected to be completed in December of 2023, in time for occupancy at the beginning of the school year in 2024. The PNG-Australia partnership has provided around 70 million kina under the current phase of the incentive fund, aimed at increasing and improving access to education across the country. Sharon Engnui, National EMTV News.
The Shady Rest Hotel has announced its sponsorship for Miss Central Tiare Vavine on Wednesday to accommodate the 3 contestants for 1 week till the crowning night, which is coming up next week. Printing Soul Limited also presented 2,000 kina sponsorship to the Miss Central Province, Tiare Vavine, on the same day.
The 3 contestants are from Central Province and they represent different villages. The chairlady for Miss Central Province Tiare Vavine pageant, Jelena Tamata, said their aim is to preserve their culture and grow their young women to become entrepreneurs by empowering them through this platform.
And Wednesday will be Category 1 judging, which will be the Tiare Vavine Entrepreneurship Award, where the young ladies will pitch their business idea to a panel of judges, and the best pitch will be awarded. And then the Thursday the 27th is topic 2, category 2, which is a topic presentation. On Sunday when they come at dinner, they get to pick a topic and they research it over the first 2 days before they present it on Thursday, again before a panel of judges. And then Friday is technical rehearsal, so they'll walk the stage and have a feel of the light and the sound and the audio-visual. And Saturday is the night, the crowning night, where we get to see who will walk away with that prestigious.
The general manager of Shady Rest Hotel, Zia Rayani, said they stepped in to support the young ladies to ensure that the younger generations know their cultural values.
Know where they come from, they know their stories, they know their cultural values, so that they can keep these traditions and these cultural values on, for the future generations, for their own lives, to take that knowledge through. I think it's very important to have that connection to where they're from, and them being able to visit their villages and get their families involved and their whole villages involved is absolutely beautiful. Yeah. We're so happy to see them being able to grow through this process and to really showcase who they can become as young women and young leaders, which is what we love to see. So we are absolutely honored and excited to be part of this project. I think as a company, but also personally.
Estagane, National EMTV News.
National EMTV News continues after the break with Trukai Sports. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. Badminton PNG Federation has facilitated a one-day competition tournament that saw the Special Olympics Committee organising matches targeted for youth with intellectual disability. This one-day competition was held today at the Filipino Association PNG Basketball Hall in Port Moresby.
The Badminton PNG Association has held various competitions for children, youth, Paralympics and others over the past couple of months. In March this year, they hosted their first tournament, which participants were young children. For today, they have facilitated matches in partnership with the Special Olympics of PNG. They saw youth with intellectual disabilities enjoying this racket sport, with shuttlecocks leaping in the air. Assisting the players were trainers, coaches, and athletes from the Special Olympics. Some of them have represented PNG. About 8 participating teams from Kaugere, St. Paul's, St. Peter's, Gereka, Red Cross, Cheshire, Hanuabada, and Boera took part. Badminton President Kini Vanagi Karo, while addressing these players, said selections will be made based on their set criteria. He said this is an opportunity to identify talent. Unified Sport Coordinator for Special Olympics PNG, Willie Vira, said that this one-day tournament will be the chance for them to select one male and female who will be taking part in the 2023 Special Olympics World Summer Games next year.
Okay, as the NFs other badminton PNG, I have now tasked them to select the best that they will see from this tournament, where the names will be submitted to us, which we will forward to the Special Olympics PNG board to bless them before we announce the name.
Grace Papiali, Trukai Sports.
Meanwhile, selections for the 2023 Special Olympics World Summer Games will be made based off from today's badminton competition. This statement was made by the Unified Sports Coordinator for the Special Olympics Committee, Willie Vira.
As the Special Olympics Committee is in its preparation stage for the selection of Team PNG to participate in the 2023 Special Olympics World Summer Games, which will be held in Berlin, Germany. A male and a female will be selected to represent PNG at the Games. Unified Sports Coordinator for Special Olympics PNG, Willie Vira, explains on this.
So Special Olympics Papua New Guinea will take part in the World Games with 4 sporting codes, which we already selected the bocce team and athletics yesterday. Today is badminton, and November 12th we will have the tournament for unified football, which we will select a female team to represent PNG in the World Summer Game.
This match gives the opportunity for these young players to participate. Selections are now underway by the PNG Special Olympics Committee. Grace Papiali, Trukai Sports.
Trukai Sports continues after the break with more sports stories. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
You're watching Trukai Sports. Moving to rugby union, and Biala Suarez Rugby Union Club today received a sponsorship of 15,000 kina from a local company, Chaplin Trading Limited. The presentation of the cheque was received by the club president and witnessed by the PNG Rugby Football Union president, Paul Siwi. The sponsorship will be used to help the team prepare for the upcoming National Rugby Union Championship set to take place in Port Moresby.
Present today to receive their cash sponsorship of 15,000 kina from a local company, Chaplin Trading Limited, where players and management team from the Biala Suarez Rugby Union Club. Director of Chaplin Trading Limited and sponsor Jason Chung said the company is happy to support a local team from West New Britain. He says as part of the company's community engagement as a local company, it can only do so much to support not just a local club, but young youth in the area using sport as a tool for change.
We are very, very happy to assist Biala Suarez. We think it's a good initiative. We are pledging 15,000 kina to this team. I think it's a good opportunity for the boys too that are in Biala. They have something to do.
President of the club, Junior Sabata, thanked CTL for their generous support, saying that their support will go a long way in helping young youth who are not only passionate about their sport, but will help them individually in improving one's life into the future through sports.
So we're fortunate enough to have Chaplin Trading to come on board and sponsor us in this tournament. The sponsorship will go a long way to help the boys in the village, and especially to help assist with the FS and like logistics-wise when we bring the boys in.
Sharing similar sentiments in thanking the sponsor was club chairman Andrew Solomon, who added that with the increase in law and order issues, particularly caused by young people, one way of reducing petty crimes and other illegal activities is by engaging young people in sports.
Communicating with the boys in the village, going down there, donating jerseys, supporting them in the village, encouraging them to train and stay away from all these illegal activities, getting them involved in drug, criminal activities or any other illegal activities that will bring harm to them or their family, and asking them to get involved in sports.
Meanwhile, President of PNG RFU, Paul Siwi, acknowledged the support from CTL, saying if it isn't for the sponsors such as Chaplin Trading Limited, young people, with their support, tend to make it further in life, especially when it comes to support that is provided.
You know, the guys from Biala in the national Pupuk team, the national sevens team, they're going back to support the local club, so trying to get more talent out of Biala.
Siwi added that Biala Suaras Rugby Union Club has produced great rugby union players in the past that have represented PNG at the world stage, and one which is the current club president, Godwin Eki, Trukai Sports.
And that ends Trukai Sports. The weather report is next. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports. Trukai Sports.
This weather update is proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
Weather forecast for the next 24 hours. Southern region, Port Moresby, cloudy and rain. Daru, few showers. Kerma and Alatau, showers and thunderstorms. And Popondetta, cloudy and rain.
The weather update was proudly brought to you by MoniPlus, with you always.
And that's the news, sports and weather for Friday, the 21st of October 2022. From all of us here, have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.
This news program was proudly brought to you by Smart Start Breakfast Biscuits and Gold Nuggets.